How to Train Your Dragon is one of those rare movies that just feels timeless. It's a heartfelt tale of friendship, self-discovery, and of course, dragons. With the live-action remake finally out, and surprisingly doing justice to the original, I figured now was the perfect time to dive into one of the franchise's lesser-known corners, the tie-in video game. Now, full disclosure, I wasn't a diehard fan when the original films were coming out, but these movies clearly left a mark on an entire generation. And after finally sitting down to watch them all, I totally understand why. They're packed with heart, lovable characters, and thrilling adventures. Heading into this, I expected the game to deliver more of that magic. In my head, I was ready for some kind of epic hack-and-slash journey through Berk, soaring across the skies with Toothless, battling enemies, exploring the world. You know, stuff that you'd come to expect from a fantasy video game. But oh no, what I got was something very different. And let's just say it was a rude and slightly hilarious awakening. The game kicks off not long after the first How to Train Your Dragon movie. Stoic fills us in by telling us that after the Red Death was taken down, the Vikings decided to celebrate with a brand new holiday. It's a day where young Vikings prove themselves by battling it out in the Dragon Tournament. Right out the gate, you get to choose between playing as Hiccup or Astrid, which at first I thought was pretty awesome. Keyword thought, but we'll get to that in a bit. For now, I picked Hiccup and started wandering around Berk, chatting it up with all the familiar faces from the movie. At this point, I was still fully expecting some kind of action-adventure game. I mean, it just makes sense, right? So I head over to the Dragon Den, feed my Night Fury, give him a good nap, tuck him in, and then make my way to the training grounds. And that's when reality smacked me in the face. This isn't an adventure game. Oh no, it's far from that. It's a fighting game, like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, but with dragons. And let me be clear, I bought this game off eBay. No case, no manual, no clue what I was truly walking into. The last thing I expected from a How to Train Your Dragon game was, well, this. Honestly, it feels like the franchise was made for an open world game or action RPG, so making it a fighter is kinda wild. But you know what? I oddly respect it. It's so out of left field that it ends up feeling unique. Anyway, after training Toothless, I entered the first official tournament and clawed my way up the ranks until I faced off against Snotlout. And just like in the movies and shows, he throws a tantrum after losing and immediately starts plotting ways to cheat in the next rounds. So after wrapping up the first tournament, I felt like I finally had a decent grip on the game, and by that I mean my hopes and dreams of soaring across the skies with Toothless were fully crushed. But hey, I was in the thick of it now, and there's no turning back at this point. With my girlfriend's help, we dove into the Dragon Customizer and whipped up a pretty slick looking Night Fury. We got him fed, well rested, and ready to rumble in the second tournament. Now, just to be totally transparent here, I'm not good at fighting games.
Fatality.
My strategy usually involves button mashing like there's no tomorrow, or if I learn a cheap combo, I'll ride that thing into the ground like a Viking clinging to his last shred of dignity. And you know what? Apparently button mashing works, because I beat Fishlegs in the second tournament and unlocked 2 achievements. One for winning the second tournament, and another for doing it without healing my dragon, which honestly wasn't as tough as I thought it was going to be. However, I may have hit Fishlegs a little too hard as he ends up left so dizzy that he doesn't even notice Snotlout literally releasing all the dragons right behind him. Nice. With the stables now empty, Gobber sends us off to investigate. After questioning a few familiar faces, we track the missing dragons to a place called the Wild Zone. There, we run into this shady looking Viking chilling by himself. Apparently, he has the dragons, but he won't give them back unless we fight him. Who knew that even the How to Train Your Dragon universe had Team Rocket-esque villains? But at this point, I remember I don't have any dragons to fight with since this guy just stole them all. So back to town we go. I ended up picking out a Gronkle. I don't know what it is about these chubby waddling dragons, but I love them. Something about their goofy energy just speaks to me. After putting the Gronkle through some intense training, we return to face the Dragon Napper and challenge him for our dragon's freedom. And after a hard-fought battle, we win, unlocking us another achievement for securing our first victory in the Wild Zone. With our dragons safely back in our care, we return to Gobber for some much needed healing and quick training session to gear up for the next tournament. But this time, we're going to have to put in some extra work in order to snag a specific achievement. In order to get this achievement, we have to fight the lowest rated opponent in each round. It sounds simple enough, right? However, this ended up making the tournament way longer than it needed to be. I mean, I do enjoy fighting games, but this was more than I bargained for. Eventually, we made it to the tournament leader, Tough Nut, and credit where it's due, he put up a good fight. After a few close calls, we took down his entire dragon lineup, but just when I was ready to celebrate, the game hit me with the old,
"But wait! There's more!"
Enter Rough Nut, Tough Nut's sister, and apparently the real final boss of this bracket. The problem was, my Night Fury was already hanging on by a thread after fighting Tough Nut. Things were not looking good, but thankfully, my Grunkle stepped up like an absolute legend and clutched the victory. 2 more achievements, don't mind if I do. But the victory was short-lived, because now the twins decided it would be a great idea to help Snotlout steal the Foghorn, effectively postponing the next tournament. Geez, thanks guys. Stoic tells us to go and recover it before we start the next match. But before starting the next tournament, we had other priorities. With 3 tournament wins under our belt, it was time to unlock a 4th dragon. This time, I picked the hideous Sibbleback, and believe it or not, this dragon quickly became my favorite. It's weird and goofy looking, and it reminds me a lot of Zack and Wheezy from Dragon Tales. Now that we're rocking a full roster of 4 dragons, I could finally earn the achievement for having them all in top shape. After that, we returned to the Wild Zone to hunt down that Foghorn, and as far as I'm aware, it's the only time in the entire game where you actually need to use your sword. While we're here in the Wild Zone, we hit up the caves for some minigames, which not only level up our dragons, but also racked up medals for, you guessed it, more achievements. Before wrapping things up, I finished all the training missions for one of my dragons and unlocked yet another achievement. Finally, with all that side content conquered, I made my way back to Stoic, placed the Foghorn atop the tower, and got the green light to kick off the next tournament. Just like the last tournament, this one came with its own special win condition. This time, I had to challenge and defeat the highest ranked opponent available in every round. Now, it made the tournament shorter than the last one, but wow, was it tougher. Still, we powered through without too much trouble, though battling 4 dragons every single match started to get a little repetitive. The final opponent for this tournament was Astrid, and after a fierce showdown against her deadly Natter, we managed to beat her, which unlocked 2 more achievements and brought us within reach of the final tournament. Astrid understandably wasn't thrilled about her loss and was debating whether to take a break and train more before jumping back in, but some playful trash talk from Snotlout was all it took to light that competitive fire in her again. Now, to unlock the final tournament, we had to complete a less than epic task, rapidly collecting chickens to uncover intel on Snotlout's brand new dragon. Yeah, weird, but hey, it worked. Before diving into the last big challenge, I decided to go on a bit of an achievement hunting spree. First up, we bought every recipe in the store, stockpiled over 1,000 common ingredients, and snagged our very first gold medal on expert difficulty. Then came my favorite part, the flying minigame. We cleared 5 expert level checkpoints in a row, and honestly, it felt like something pulled straight out of the movies. Just soaring through the skies on a dragon was pure fun, and I wish that there was more stuff like this in the game. Next, we had to herd 5 brown sheep in a row on expert, and look, I couldn't help but feel bad for those poor sheep. They're being snatched up by dragons and dropped from ridiculous heights, and there's no way their legs are making it out of this intact. After that, I was back to the ice sculpture challenge where I had to smash 10 blocks in a row on expert. This was kind of hard and it took me a few tries, but we finally nailed it. Then came some grind where I had to catch 200 boars and 200 chickens, both unlocking achievements. Finally, we went on a shopping spree, blowing over 10,000 gold in the store, and yep, you guessed it, unlocked one last achievement. With all that grinding behind us, I was feeling pretty good. We had our dragons leveled up, achievements secured, and the final tournament now loomed ahead. This time, the path to becoming champion wasn't just tough, it was downright brutal. I had to take on all 5 of Hiccup's friends, and they were not playing nice. Each one showed up with a stacked team of 4 high high-level dragons, and every battle felt like a mini boss fight. It was a long, grueling tournament, one that tested both strategy and stamina. But with some determination and a bit of button mashing, we clawed our way through to the final showdown, a rematch against Snotlout, and this time he brought out his brand new dragon, the Grapple Grounder. The battle was intense and honestly pretty fun, but in the end we took him down, and with that victory came, you guessed it, 2 more achievements. But the best reward of all was hearing our dad admit that he's proud of us. No achievement could ever top that moment. Who am I kidding? The adventure isn't quite over and we have more achievements to unlock. Remember that dragon thief from earlier? Yeah, turns out he's hoarding some rare and powerful dragons, and if we want to unlock them all for arcade mode, we're going to have to battle him again. Beating all of those dragons also nets us the last bit of experience we need to max out all 4 of our dragons to level 25, unlocking 2 more achievements in the process. With everything else behind us, it was finally time to dive into arcade mode. Oh yay. To be fair, it's not terrible, but by this point the game had definitely entered grind territory. The charm was wearing thin and the repetition was starting to set in. Still, the achievement list called to me like the goblin suit to Norman Osborn. In order to mop up the rest of the achievements, I needed to win 10 fights in a row on hard mode, win 20 battles using a custom team of dragons from story mode, win another 20 fights using dragons from the arcade editor, win 50 fights without taking any damage, and finally win 100 total fights. Yeah, it was a lot. After finishing all of that, my in-game playtime was around 15 hours. My eyes were glazing over, my thumbs were going numb, but I still wasn't done just yet. And this is when I came to the crushing realization I still had to play through the entire game again as Astrid. And if that wasn't enough, I still needed a grand total of 20 hours of playtime on a single save file to unlock another achievement. Since I had about 15 hours logged, I did what any sane person would do. I set the controller down and waited. Literally, just waited for 5 full hours. I had time to reflect and get some other stuff done, and I mostly was just thinking, why do developers put these kinds of achievements in games? I mean, the game's fun, but 20 hours of playtime for an achievement just feels lame. However, after finally unlocking it, we were left with only 1 achievement to go. So I pushed through, I played the whole story again as Astrid, and honestly, this part tested every ounce of my patience. I already felt the burnout playing as Hiccup, and now I was just running on pure willpower. But finally, I beat Snotlout one last time, the final achievement popped, and I could officially lay this game to rest. Overall, this game wasn't exactly what I expected, but honestly, that's not a bad thing. The fact that it's a fighting game of all things made it feel surprisingly unique to me, especially for a How to Train Your Dragon title. If you're a fan of fighting games and this series, this one's definitely worth checking out. But with that being said, I would not recommend going for the 100% completion unless you're ready for a serious grind. Still, there's a lot to love, like customizing your dragons and jumping into a variety of minigames. It's a neat feature, especially with how many dragons you can unlock and play as. Though I do wish that they'd included Smidvarg in the gang. Missed opportunity, honestly. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video and you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to see me take on the second How to Train Your Dragon game, yes, I'm actually considering it, give this video a like. As always, thank you all for watching. Take care. Peace.